All right. Welcome to the Canada Cycling Canada race series, race number 3, and we're starting in fast speed because things take a little while to get exciting here. So I'll tell you a little bit about the course we're doing and what's going on. But first, just to open it up, this is the third race. The first two had us catching up with the A group and then blowing into pieces once we hit the first climb as a combined A-B. This time we get close to the A group and we actually do catch some of them later, but we actually really blow into pieces because of the climb. That's early on in this course. So it did feel a little bit more like B's versus B's this time through, which is nice. I mean, that's my preference of racing, is that it keeps pretty specific to category. I think that's the point of the categories. Anyhow, um, had some pretty decent results. Like, I'm happy with how I've been finishing in the first couple of races. I'm not in podium shape or anything like that, so finishing kind of the front third has been great. So now we go into real time here because we're hitting this first big climb. So let me talk about this course. Many of you will know it very well. It's through the jungle and has this wicked climb, which is this steep climb here, and then a long gradual climb, and then a bit of a break, and then more long gradual climbing. So you can see we're right on it, and good crew. We got some of our Southwest Ontario Zwift folks, Ian Hillis up there. Um, and it's really just everyone for themselves. We're doing 400 watts to get up this climb. I'm trying to stay in touch with the front of it. I was hoping for sure on this one to be with the lead pack, and it goes pretty well, all things considered, considering there was a decent gap at some points. And so this course, then essentially you hit the jungle and you're probably already in multiple groups. And then you get a long downhill, and then it's a huge drag uphill out of the jungle again. And so there's kind of real two important phases to this race. This first one here, where it's everyone for themselves to the top of the climb, and then there is teamwork in the second half as things kind of sort themselves out through the jungle. For me here, I'm not right on the nose of this group here, which, something to work on. But holding it reasonable in touch. There's about 15 guys ahead of me on this climb here. There's Don Cherry, who is actually Ben Dobby, poking around on this one. You'll see later that Ben really turns on the afterburners in this race, but him and I kind of stay pretty close together up the climb here. He noses ahead to the front of the group. I do know that what happens or tends to happen on this one is we get up this long drag, and then it tends to slow up as things kind of flatten out into the second kind of aspect of this climb. And so, because essentially by the time of this, that you get to the top here, everyone's is pretty much at max. And so you can see in the comments, right? People are like, fast B group. Oh man, there's often some sense of surrender. Look at the upper map there. You can see we've got green folks now spread across the entirety of that bridge that I just came over, and just everyone's in rough shape. So this is where it does tend to bunch back up a bit, because people have kind of put it all out up that at that climb, and then in kind of realizing that we're still going uphill for a while here, no one really wants to be on the front. Everyone's kind of equally blown, and so I do end up benefiting from that. You know, I'm at 189 beats per minute here, which is essentially my max heart rate, give or take 1 or 2 beats. But it's just enough to keep me contact, and you'll see we do start kind of regrouping here. It's super important to be in a group because then it's this long downhill. And if you're riding solo in this, you're looking at the next group back. So that was the important part, is to stay in the front group. Really happy to have done that and made that contact. You know, because here's a top 15 or so, if I can hang with these folks, and then it's roll down down. Now, the problem is, and what happens here, and you'll see it, is that we never really take the foot off the gas. Now, riding through this gravel terrain is quite a bit of rolling resistance here, and so it is work on a road bike to keep rolling through here. And the group just never lets off the gas, and so you'll see my heart rate's never coming down. You know, I would love to be, you know, get down to the 150s as a full recovery, because there is another climb coming, but you can see we're just on it the whole time, and we start to scoop up these groups of A riders. So A was essentially in 3 groups by this point. We catch at least one, I'm trying to remember, 1 or 2 of those A groups. I think 1. So we pick up Chris Paulette at some point coming down here, but it's because there was like a group of about 15 of us that came over the top together, and so you just get so much speed rolling in a group like that. And so we pick up any of the Bs that were up with the As now, as well as a good number of As, probably, I want to say maybe 6, 7 A riders. So now we're a group of 22, 23, 24 riders. And then just flying through the jungle with the next big climb to come. And so this is where I'm sensing that, you know, I look at my heart rate, 183, and we're on flat ground. This is just too much work. You can see 4.2, 5.3, 4.4, 4.5. People are just stepping on the pedals here, and we're just starting on this climb out of the cave. I'm already essentially maxed out. Stupid Zwift here pushes me out of the group, and I've got no draft benefit for a while there. That it really annoys me when you are in the group and it decides to put you to the side for an extended period of time. Anyway, I mean, I wasn't going to save the inevitable anyway of what was going to happen. So I'm maxed out. We hit this climb. Hey, there's Chris Paulette from the A groups. And I know this is such a long climb. It goes on. It feels like forever. And you know, I'm out of gas here. I'm hanging on for dear life. And you know, if the group had have rolled at maybe 4.0 or something, I could have held 3.2, 3.3 and sat on the back of the pack. But they're pushing 4.5s, 5s. And I just don't have an extra gear left at this point, which is a heartbreaker because I worked so hard on that first climb to be in the lead pack. And I'm watching folks like Chris Paulette roll away from me. But it's so long. Like, there's no point. I could go for a 10-second surge to get into this group, but we've got several minutes left of climbing, and so a surge is just I'll catch them for a second and then I'll be off again. So at this point already, even though they're only seconds up the road, I'm looking backwards. What am I looking backwards for? Who's the next group coming? So there is a big group of Bs that are flying along behind and second pack, and so that's it. I know front pack is gone, gave it my best, and the second pack is going to be the ticket for me. So it's a possible top 20, depending on how the second pack goes. The nice thing is I do get it, to rest a little bit in the low threes um, while this group catches up to me. So I am catching my breath, recovering. I mean, heart rate's never going to come down. And then so I use the looking back view. It's a good trick if you've got a group coming because the groups do come fast and you do have to know when to stomp on the pedals to get into a pack that's catching you or they'll just blow right by. So just look backwards for a bit and make sure that you accelerate before they make contact. So a couple of names I recognize in this pack. Jason Cheon is from the Ontario racing in the normal years. And then also is Larry Bradley from Echelon. So a couple guys I know rolling in this group. We do pick up a couple more folks along the way. Not a ton. I'm trying to remember if we even caught anything more than kind of single people. But it's a decent sized group because again we're gonna roll down out of here eventually, and you got to be in a big pack to get that max speed rolling out of the jungle. So in terms of climbing out, I felt good about it. It was a group that I had beat up the hill basically, so I wasn't worried about kind of getting spat on this final 2-3% climb out of the jungle. So obviously, again, no recovery uphill or anything like that, but you just got to hang with the group, and no one really wants to be on the front here. Uh, you know, there's a couple A riders and a B rider I think ahead of us that sure we could catch, but I mean in terms of positions overall, we're not catching the first B pack, and we got a huge gap back to the next B pack. So no one's doing any real long turns on the front here. Um, we're just going to get that advantage of some rest down the hill, and I think there's even a couple spots you can arrow tuck down this little bit of the mountain here and really recover. So basically, yeah, there's the arrow tuck over 60, and you drop in the arrow, and as long as you're in the pack, you'll stay just as fast as them. So now we start to think about the end, but again, rather than, and Jason's doing lots of good work on the front here, actually. I'm just noticing that. I've said no one's doing a lot of work, but I lied. Look at how often Jason in the yellow is up on the front there. So I was wondering maybe he wanted to catch these 3-4 riders ahead of us. Again, it's mostly A riders. I think there was one B rider in that group, so it's kind of like, well, I mean, is it worth fighting for? But anyway, the problem is this group is again pushing, and so we're doing basically my FTP a lot of the time as soon as we hit the flat, as well as there's this steady rise on this little bit here, this 1% constant rise. And so I'm done. I'm toast. I did a super long run the weekend before, 33K. So the legs are just, coming back, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I can sprint this final here. I'm just feeling like I'm putting it all out to keep, and you can see my heart rate over 180 like all the time, which must just be fatigue. But I stood up a couple times through the 4 kilometers to go here, and I literally felt nauseous. Right here, I was like, I think I'm gonna puke. So now I'm like, I don't know about this final sprint, if this is gonna go down for me at all. But I will give it a valiant effort to, at least stay with this group to the finish. But I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. And there's even now, I'm just like, please don't leave me, guys. Doing like 370 watts of desperation to get up this little rise. And I thought actually at that point I was like, oh, I might lose them here. But I wanted to at least roll in with the pack. Not that there's anyone behind us. Honestly, at this point, knowing that I don't have a sprint left in me, and that there's no one behind me, I'm like, looking down. And I could have honestly just probably rolled off the back of this pack and just rolled in by myself and saved a little bit of misery. But, I've come this far. And, there's a top 20 in reach here. So, um, yeah, like a drop in the head. I just felt like a heap of garbage. Now, the nice thing about this again is we're so close to the finish here that no one really wants to be pulling on the front a lot. So the group does slow up enough. You'll often get right till about, well, some things go as early as 1.5 kilometers to go. A smarter group, it's usually at the 1 kilometer to go that you start to get the acceleration through. And then you just want to stay up to the front of the group as much as possible. I don't think I've ever been in a Zwift sprint where everyone literally waited to 400 meters to go. Like in real world, there's always some people who get excited, and then that just lights up the whole pack. So Larry Bradley's in here. Had a bit of a chat after with him. He's still playing with the timing on the sprint stuff. So if I could say anything to anyone about it, it's at like 1.2 kilometers to go. You should be where that rider with the blue hat is. Well, now he just kind of changed positions a little bit, but you should be the third wheel in the pack. If you're in a sprint pack, be the third wheel. Usually what will happen is someone will come around early. So someone who thinks they're good at a long range attack is going to go at the kilometer to go. Maybe one of the guys ahead of you will react, and then you're still third wheel if you go with them. So just kind of like surf that third position, and then wait till 400 to really get moving, and then at about 150 is when you want to just give it everything you got. But for me this time, I'm already at everything I got, 186 beats per minute, and still the sprint to come. So there you start to see some 6.9 watts on the front there. So that's why. So 800 meters ago, this group started. And I should be up where that yellow jersey is there in third, but I'm just rolling along. So I think, Larry, if you could have been further forward already at this point, it's pretty late with 400 to come right from the back of the pack. Because someone up there is already doing 10 watts per kilogram. You're not going to catch them at that point. He does use the arrow, which is great, and he does start hammering it. But yeah, positioning is a big part of that. So anyway, I come through it. I guess I was like the second last guy in that group. But top 20 overall, which I think there was about 65 or something finishers in B group. So that's it's a good race for me for what I had on the day.